Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of As It Is, and this week we've got a fantastic guest on. We have Mr. David Summerfield.
Here we go, boys.
We've got a special reason why we've brought Dave on, because he's an absolute motivation to us all. But Mark, you've got to ask Dave the most important question of the podcast.
What have you brought to drink?
What have I brought to drink? Oh, I've gone for the tame laddish beer, which is Budweiser, if I call it myself.
Lads.
The boys.
I was just thinking, today's actually we're recording this on St. Paddy's Day.
Hey, love it.
Have you got a Guinness?
No, but I realised too late. I'm just on the vodka.
Oh, he's gone Russian.
Russian.
I don't know what to think of mine. I think I've gone a little bit feminine on us tonight, boys. I've gone with the mystical unicorn gin liqueur.
Oh dear.
What flavour's that?
Why is it pink?
It is small batch gin, traditionally distilled and cut with magical mountain flower, infused with candy floss and marshmallow.
It does sound absolutely delectable.
Yeah, do you remember what happened last time I drank gin on the episode, Mark?
Yeah.
Yo, it's not come out yet, David, but I drank like not even a bit more than half a bottle of pink gin, up all night, throwing up, absolute wet wipe of a guy. Awful.
Losing your northern touch
stuff. I am. I've been down south too long.
Cheers, boys.
Do you want me to give it a little bit of cheers, David? But wait a moment. I need to get my drink. I'm a bit behind you. Man, we need to catch up with it. It sounds like he's been on them already.
Just taking that edge off a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you got to take that edge off. Cheers. Oh, that is delectable.
I'm not gonna say down it this week. I regret that.
Yeah, we downed it on the last one. That was such a bad idea.
I thought in the first episode, I was like, classic boys, love it.
Oh, horrid. A backstory about Dave. Do you want me to go into it, Mac, or do you want to go into it? Or should we let Dave go into it?
You give us a brief rundown, and then we'll let Dave take the reins.
Right. So what we've brought Dave on because over the course of lockdown, he's been an absolute champion. He's been doing lots of stuff for the NHS, raising money for the NHS, doing live videos, doing like a 24-hour stream or something you did over like Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, 16 hours. The West End fundraiser we did. That was 16 hours. That was a trek.
Bloody hell. So you did the West End fundraiser, the NHS fundraiser. And did you do any more, or was it just them two?
Just did a couple of other little shows to show off, but they're the two big ones where you can you can say I did it for a reason.
Just a couple of little money makers. Right, so talk us through these shows. Were you singing for 16 hours straight, or?
Oh bloody hell! Well, so the first one we did was first one I did was the NHS fundraiser. And I think respect out to the NHS. They've been absolutely brilliant. And in the first lockdown, it was all a bit crazy, everything going on. It's been a bit of a shit show, isn't it, boys? Really, it's just a bit. Oh, I just can't wait to get out of it, if I'm being honest. But
don't know what you mean. My best life.
We've just been drinking all the way through it.
And the first one was I saw a couple of people doing things like on things for the NHS, like doing those. Do you remember those 5K runs that people were doing? Like run 5, nominate 5.
It turned out that every single person in the country were Mo Farah.
Everyone's doing sub 20-minute 5Ks. People who've never exercised in their life.
That was annoying the living crap out of me. Like, I'm an avid runner, and I just do under 20K. When I'm pushing, I do about 19 and a half, something like that. And then you've got Steve down road, who's 46, overweight, doing it in 17 minutes. What? Madness.
Doing the old pause strat, getting that sprinting, pause it.
Every 100 meters.
10-minute breather, go again.
I did mine in about 45 minutes. So that wasn't really a good one, to be honest. I don't really do running if I'm being honest.
Good work, mate.
Not gonna lie, if you did a fundraiser for that run, I'd have definitely give you about 10 pence for 45 minutes. Jesus Christ. Speaking of money, how much did you raise over the course of everything?
So the NHS one, I had loads of people on, Dan Middleton came on both of mine. The second one I felt sorry for him. He came on and did a workout for the first one, and then for the West End fundraiser, I put him with my mate Will Hillman for a quiz. I felt sorry for Dan. He was doing it on his own, bless him.
It was so thick. It was me and Will versus two of. Was it you and? No, it wasn't you. Was it? It was two of your other mates.
Yeah, it was Josh who was co-hosting the West End one with me, and his mate Jack from his uni that he went to. And he was like, "I'll get Jack on." And he said, "As you're hosting the quiz, you can get 2 people on." I was like, "Well, I know the first person I'm getting on, Quizmania Chase Extraordinaire Dan Middleton." And then I was like, "Oh, why not put Hillman on for the banter? Dan can win it on his own."
Are we talking about the same Dan here or what?
Yo, I'm so smart. Dave, how good did I do on that?
He actually, in terms of on its own, he won the whole thing. He won it in terms of who got the most points.
Easy won it. They were crap.
Yeah, poor Hillman. I mean, poor Middleton having Hillman to deal with. That was a trek. But yeah, at the end of it, we raised. By the time we closed off the books for the NHS one, we raised £880, which was pretty good. It was just something I was like, I want to do something for the NHS, but I didn't really know. I didn't want to do any of this running rubbish and all that kind of thing. So I was like, what can I?
Why do you just do some laps to your garden? That's it. That seems to work.
I'm not 99.
Or a woman.
And yeah, so I was like, oh, why don't I get a few people on to do a bit of a performance, a bit of a show, do a few interviews, because obviously I want to be a presenter. That's the end goal for this career if it ever gets up and running again. But it was I was like, oh, I'll get a few people on. I messaged a couple of mates expecting a few people to go, yeah, it's not really for me. I think pretty much everyone I messaged came back and were like, yeah, we'll do it. I was like, oh, bloody hell. So after the first one, I did about a 10-hour one for the NHS one. And by the end of it, we raised £880, which was brilliant. But it was so sick, hearing people. You always hear when you're seeing interviews, it's always these famous people that have actually made it, and they've done it all already. You never hear how people are doing in the build up to their careers. People starting out in their careers, what people are doing, and I think it's always really helpful for people to see that and know what they can do in terms of their careers, etc. So I just want to get a few people on, have a platform for people to promote themselves, and the first one went really, really well, and so I was really, really happy with that, and it got a good feedback. So I can't really complain, boys. It's £880 raised. I was expecting 100, 200, maybe even at a push.
Yeah,
that's it. I was talking to Mark about it before, and we were saying about it was kind of giving people a platform as well, isn't it, Mark? Obviously, especially us guys, we're all performers, if you want to call us that. Are we performers anymore? Who knows? Is there an industry to go into? Who knows? And you were kind of giving people an opportunity to show their talent or whatever their their trade is, if you get me, and helping them promote.
Yeah, have you got anything in the pipeline in the future?
Not at the moment for fundraisers, because everyone's back at work, so no one's going to watch it. Yeah, I mean, it had good feedback. That's why I did the West End one, because people were saying, "Oh, you've got to do another one. You've got to do another one." But you don't want to be that guy going, "Oh, let's do another one for the NHS" and that kind of thing. Because
give me your goddamn money.
Give me your money, especially in a time where people are struggling, aren't they? You know what I mean? And so I sat there and I was like, what can I? So I was like, yeah, a month later, a couple of months later, I was like, I'll do another one. Why not? I was thinking, I can't do it for the NHS again. Obviously, they deserved it, but I was like, I can't do it again.
Obviously, they've been working so many hours, but fuck them.
gonna say we found out that they actually got a pay rise the other week.
No.
How much were it, Mac?
I think they got promised £2, but then they reduced it to under £1.
Is that a
Something
year
like
or weekly or an hour or what? Or annually?
A yearly cap.
Here, you've done so well this year. Have £1.
It's awful, isn't it? It is awful.
Thing is, like, I saw other day, I don't know if any of you saw it, but what kind of mental rehabilitation are they going to have for all these doctors and nurses that have seen all horrors that they've seen over the last year?
Mm.
Like, you hear about, obviously, like, war vets and stuff coming back. They've seen, like, people blown up and that. And, like, obviously, they get the help. Yeah, you get me? But it's similar, the same situation. You see, they've seen all these people dying of a horrific illness, disease, like, a lot more than usual. It's going to fuck with your psyche. Like...
Yeah, but in comparison, someone being blown to smithereens in front of you to just someone laying in a hospital bed, I mean, it's...
Don't know, a generation grown up on COD. It's like, it's natural, isn't it?
I can't live with it.
But
It
no,
was Modern Warfare 2 days.
I do feel like they do need some form of help. Like, obviously, once this is all blown over and stuff, or even like during, just, I think like countries just kind of like done that to NHS. Like, not us, like the common man, like the government in general.
Mm.
Then you've got like people like David. Then you've got people like David, like Goody Two Shoes over here, fucking raising money for him.
And not running for it. Yeah, it's
where did like
awful.
you? Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, where did like your idea come from to like do it? Because obviously, it's just that you didn't think.
I've always been, I set up a podcast prior to this whole COVID thing, and I wanted to get people on, talking about careers, etc. That's what the idea of my podcast was to do, and then obviously that got halted due to I couldn't have people in my house doing interviews, etc. And that sounds silly, but I think the online way of doing things has been so much more promoted recently. Even before this whole lockdown, it's so much more available. So many more things, like all the things that we record on now, like it's all available now. So I didn't really think to do it in lockdown over online. So I had that inclined, and again, it was just I just wanted to. I was quite bored as well. I'm not gonna lie. So obviously that wasn't the main. It's not the main reason why I did it, but it was something.
I'm bored. I'm going to be a good Samaritan today and make myself look good. But really, I'm just bored shitless.
I think everyone was doing something, weren't they? Like for the NHS,
Not me.
Some form.
Yeah, I was clapping on a Thursday night.
Exactly. There we go.
Not that sort of clapping.
And that's like for NHS. Tugging away for NHS's mark.
Absolutely.
Oh. Or in play clapping cheeks, but never mind.
Oh.
Little nine. Oh god.
You dirty little bitch. Right, so in terms of like putting the whole thing together online, because obviously you can't do it over Zoom platforms, ones that are quite easy to like work. You had to do it over obviously social network. What issues like did you come across like doing it all? Because I can imagine it was pain. We have a pain in the ass doing it over Discord, never mind over Facebook.
Yeah. And did you have like loads of people dropping out, like 1 million people say they'll help, but then when it comes down to the wire?
Well, it was a bit. I have to be honest. It wasn't as amazing as it sounds. I have to be honest. I was on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah. So I googled a video, YouTube the video. I was like, oh, how do you get 2 people on a video? And I found this video, and it was this American person going, all we need to do is like scroll down, click on someone's name who's watching, and they'll click yes, and they'll come and join. And I was like, oh, easy. onto it, realised that had been taken down and it was no longer possible. So I was there for about half an hour, stressing my tits off, trying to find a way to get these people invited. And I was just inviting people to like watch it, and my mate Ollie
on like the day of the recording.
Literally, as it was,
shit.
I started it all going, "Hey, welcome to da." And then I was like trying to invite my mate Ollie, and he was like, "Stop inviting me to watch it. I don't want to watch it. I want to be on it."
You see like a video of David, like, what's going on?
All this hype, weeks and weeks of trailers and promos to get to it, and he's like, "Shit, what do I actually do?"
Literally me going, "Sorry guys, I'm just trying to work out like what
the old forehead."
That was literally the first half an hour, and then I had to go on to bloody Instagram. Then I got timed out of Instagram. They're like, "Oh no, you can't have any more lives. You've had your share." I was like, "Oh bollocks! How am I meant to do this now after like 5 interviews?"
So is that why it was only 16 hours?
And then it was, and then my sister, who's literally the most unpet person of all time, she messaged me and she said, "What about this platform that you can go on?" I clicked on to like StreamYard, and I was like, "Oh, here we go." And then it went. I think Dan was my first guest on, and I was like, "Danny there, Danny there, Danny," and his face just popped up, and I was like, "Yes, get in there, get in there."
I was like, "Hey, up."
Dan was so calm, and there was me like stressing out because I was like, I've been trying to click things and work out how to get
Just
lives on.
20 push-ups, like, all right there.
It was so funny. It was so funny when we did it. I did some like jump squats, and Dave couldn't move. He planted it ground in.
Honestly, it actually killed me off. I'm not gonna lie. Like, afterwards, but the day after, my legs are fucked. I was literally, oh my god, literally, Dan, you've murdered me. And everyone else was like messaging Dan, going, "Oh, Dan, he's had all this tech shit for the day, and you've nearly killed the poor bugger." It was like that was stressful, but once I got the hang of the StreamYard thing, it was easy, and the rest of the day went really, really well. It was just nice, chatting to people again. We've gone from like you message people every now and then, going, "How you doing?" Yeah, I'm just FIFA.
We were on about it the other day. There's 2 things you can say to people now. Do you want to go for a walk or quiz time?
Literally. I'm fed up of like meeting people for a walk now. I'm just like, I'm never going to say no to a pint ever again. Like, that's going to be the most cherished text message you're ever going to get for the rest of your life now.
As long as you're buying.
Yeah.
I ain't buying. You know me. Tight Dave.
Are we keeping it a PG-friendly stream?
We are keeping it PG-friendly because apparently I've heard that Dave has got a new YouTube channel called Storytime David.
I'll behave.
Amazing.
So, tell us about Storytime.
No, please go on, Dave. Tell us about Storytime with David.
Storytime with David. Oh dear. Here we go.
Is that what it's called, or am I making that up?
No, it's legit. Again, I'm not gonna lie. It was just a lockdown boredom thing. I started it. I was like, "Oh, why not do this? I've got nothing else to do. I've won the league with Chelsea in career mode. What else do I need to do? What else can I do?" So yeah, obviously I work with children, and I've
Legally.
if I've not like been on stage, I've been, I worked in schools, I worked in like leisure centres, doing junior activities.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, why not like try and I've got a lot of mums on Facebook and all that kind of thing. I was like, why not try and get
We all have, yeah.
And I was like, oh, why not? I just did it I'm not gonna do it. I literally did it because I was bored, and I did it. And I was like, I'll start doing some children's stories and putting it out there for people to watch. It might kick off. I've always been interested in maybe going into children's TV. And I did the first one, and it got quite a lot of views, and a lot of people saying, they really enjoyed it. I was like, I'll keep doing them more. And it's going really well. I'm getting about 2. I know it's not a lot at the moment, but I'm still getting about, on average on all platforms, about 200 views for every story, which is quite nice. And showed them to kids in the school that I work at, and they seem to enjoy it. And yeah, it's just been something I wanted to do in this lockdown. I wanted to get my profile a bit more raised, because when we eventually do go back into the acting, I don't want to sit there and just say, Oh, what did you do in the great pandemic? Oh, I watched Premier League years and did football quizzes. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's not. They're not gonna be like, oh, he's been working hard, hasn't he?
No. So Dan showed me your channel, and it's funny because I filmed my mum doing the exact same at one point.
Oh, sweet.
So from work, she had to bring on the children's books, and I was filming it in the studio in my bedroom with the lighting and the mics, doing the show and tells with the books for the kids. It was great.
Dave was just on about like fucking how will you remember yourself, or how will you remember the great pandemic like in 20, 30 years? Mark, how will you remember the great pandemic in 20, 30 years?
No, like you said, Zoom quizzes. Zoom quizzes, better Xbox, and better alcohol. Vomiting in my back garden. That's great.
All those challenges we had to do, all those challenges, like the loo roll, like keep you uppy loo roll, and all those things that were going around. People were just so bored, weren't they?
Smash that keep you uppy challenge. Yo, I'll send you a link, you can put it on. But why has everybody become a TikToker over lockdown? We spoke about it before.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, like these little challenges that people will take 15 seconds for like instant gratification from it.
Yeah. It's weird because I saw someone put something on TikTok of a day. Unfortunately, we've had to get a TikTok channel because it's a good way to promote, and I'm in charge of it. Woohoo.
You sound so depressed.
But I saw someone literally put something on other day, and it was literally making a cup of tea. It had over 1 million likes on it.
No,
For
literally.
a cup of tea.
But they
Get
still
1
made it
million
wrong, didn't they?
likes.
Milking first or something daft like that.
Oh no, it was that woman
Fucking
that woman who put like the milk in like the cup and then put the tea bag in the milk and then heated it up in the microwave. And then I was like, no, what are you doing?
Oh, wait, that American woman, and she's like,
Yeah, literally.
people drink their tea.
Going back to story time with David, like you were saying about like having a bit of a laugh and being a kid for a bit. How do you keep that energy so high throughout an entire book? Because I think I could do it for like 2 pages, and I'd be like, you know, and throw up book at the screen.
We're going off script.
Yeah.
I think I'm a bit like I've always been, you know, a big kid myself. I'm being honest. Like, I'm a bit of a mix, you know. I like my theatre, so I'm quite extravagant in that. I like, but I also like, you know, my football. You know, watching things on that sport and that kind of thing. I'm not the most theatre kid. Is what when you perceive people what they are to be a theatre kid. I'm not exactly. I'm not like singing down the streets going, "Oh, what a beautiful morning." I'm literally just like, "Oh, what's the?"
So you don't own a scarf?
What's wrong with that?
Do you sing down the street then, Matt?
Yeah, you see me in Aldi, I'll be tap dancing away down fruit and veg aisle.
It's like an episode of West Side Story when Mac's walking down the street.
Everyone together in sync.
But yeah, it's just enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie, I actually really enjoy it. It's cringe watching your back. It is cringe watching your back. And like, for example, when they've been shown in school and the teachers, like the kids are well engrossed, and then the teachers that are standing there and you're like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
You're looking at TA that you want to smash, and you're like, oh,
like my first few videos, I think I probably went a bit too over the top in terms of trying to talk to them like they're babies. Like I was a bit like, yeah, this isn't really it. Like,
can you give us an example of what the first one sounded like?
Yeah, go for it.
Right, do you want to get a biscuit and get a glass of juice, and then we'll all sit down and enjoy this? Oh, can't wait, and that kind of thing. And
I feel like you've mellowed that back a little bit. I want to see the full energy. Go on, give full energy.
Oh, welcome to Story Time with David. Thank you very much. Literally, it was so high pitched and bad. I look back.
Yeah, you've got like already a naturally high pitched voice, so I feel like if you push that on a little bit more, it'd be like, whoa.
It was
dogs would come running.
You watch the first one back, and it's very, I think I was a bit too over oldish, maybe too patronising on them, maybe. But as they've gone along, you just treat them like you just read the book and like. It's like we're actors, you know what I mean? Like, just act the story out, like in terms of what you're reading, and that's what I tended to do. I just did Shrek recently. I did the book Shrek, and
I'm gonna ask
like the whole, like the whole show, or
he got the script out.
No, it was literally it was like I didn't do the Scottish accent. I have to be honest. I was like, nah, that's career ending if people hear that.
Speaking of Shrek, I think the musical is coming back onto Netflix soon.
It is. Love that show.
It's coming back. I didn't even know it were ever on.
Yeah, like years ago. Don't know why they removed it.
I've never seen Shrek or heard the music from Shrek.
Oh, mate,
the only one is something about building a wall. I want to build a wall. So
I do like one song from it. It's called "Who I'd Be."
Yeah.
If you get a chance, listen to that, Dan.
Oh well, if Dave wants to give us a little rendition, that'd be sound.
That's who I'd be. And that's all.
I respect it. Just pulls out his sheet music. Well,
I've got the book right here. Funny enough, no, I'm joking. I've been nicking all the books from the school. I'm not gonna lie, I've just been bringing them home. Like, look, if someone stopped me and pulled me over like in the street, like, what have you got in the bag? Oh, Tiger Who Came to Tea, Shrek, Snail and the Whale. You know what I mean?
They do sound like absolute bops. Yeah.
They are pops. They are class. So yeah, it's just been fun, and it's got a bit more popular than I ever expected it to be, which is a great thing, and I'm happy about that. So I'm in talks with someone at the moment who's going to help me promote a bit more, because obviously I'm a bit new to this YouTube thing. I don't really know where to start, if I'm being honest. I'm not the most tech. Well, you can clearly see from my NHS fundraiser, I'm not the most techie person in the world. So it's just a learning. I think that's the enjoyable thing. It's a learning curve doing all these tech things and podcasts online. It's I like what you guys do. I think it's brilliant. I love watching the show. I think it's just been this is what the benefit of this lockdown has been, hasn't it? It's just been a learning curve for some people as well, to like learn new things. Because I mean, how many times, boys, have we sat there and said, oh, I just want to break from life, not a holiday, just a break from life. I want to get up in the morning and not feel guilty about not going to work. I just want to sit and do absolutely shit all for like a couple of weeks. And I feel like for the first few weeks it was all right, but after that I was like, nah.
We were talking about it as well. I think it was me and Mark a couple of weeks ago. How this lockdowns allowed people to be creative and use their like kind of creative impulses and like their talents to make things. So like for me and Mark, our talent is talking shit and drinking. So, and Mark's not bad at like tech. So that's kind of like, that's our podcast, talking shit, drinking, and Mark's all right at tech.
It's amazing. I love the football tier one you did last week. I thought that was boss. I thought that was absolutely boss. I really enjoyed that one.
Oh, brilliant.
Are you finding it hard to like connect with your target audience? Because obviously you are targeting children like us. We're targeting like our age range and above, like I'd say 18 to 35-year-olds. That's kind of like our target audience. But yours is like 3. So are we connecting to that audience? Obviously.
We mentioned TikTok before, and I feel like stuff like this could really pop on TikTok if it finds that algorithm and like you tailor that content to them.
Yeah, TikTok's the way forward.
You thought about it?
I thought about going on TikTok, but like I spoke to my mate who's a massive TikToker. Well, not massive. He just likes doing it. And
it's got like 17 followers.
60.
He's an influencer.
He's an influencer. He was like, yeah, you should go on TikTok, because literally, like as you said, someone making a cup of tea that got 1 million views. But I was speaking to someone. They said, actually, your target audience, it sounds silly, isn't children. It's like mums between 25 to 40, because they're the ones that had the children. So he said that's where you've got to tailor. You've got to tailor your market to them. And I was a bit like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like, oh, whoops. And so yeah, it's just it's been difficult because obviously when you're doing it to a camera, you're not getting like the reaction of the children, what they're giving back to you and that kind of thing. It's like these West End fundraisers I've done, people performing. I think I had a comedian on the West End one called Jack, and he did stand-up comedy. I thought he did.
Mate, before you go on, were he shit? Or were he all right?
He was all right. He was all right, but that's what I mean. He did really well considering he didn't have people,
There's no reaction.
Yeah.
You just see a comment. You're waiting 5 seconds on the delay as well. Like,
literally a joke. He was like, "Da-da-da-da-da." Oh, okay, right now. On to...
Oh, that's so cringy.
Yeah, I shivered.
He did do boss, to be fair, but I was like, I should have stayed on the stream. I was like, right, do his gig, and I clicked myself off, and I was like, just get on. I should have, but then that might be more cringy. Me just going,
yeah, you might, because then you'd be pity laughing him every time, and you'd be like, oh, haha.
So yeah, I think it's podcasting's so good to do. Like when you've got people, like you two, like it's just you bounce off each other, don't you? And that's what the good thing about it is. But when you're doing like a story and you're just doing it to a camera, that can be difficult. But I just that it's almost helpful actually because you can just do whatever you want and you have no children going, why is that boy climbing the slide the wrong way and that kind of thing. You're like, oh, just let me get on with the story. That's not the point, is it? You know what I mean?
You just hate children like that.
And they're always like got some kind of like name like Elliot or George.
Or Daniel,
Yo, don't do me dirty like that.
I bet you were you're a right pickle, weren't you, Middleton?
Pickle.
That's one word for it. That's one word for it. Yeah, I was. I wasn't a very good child. I was a very smart child, but I wasn't a very good child. Cheeky is the word my mum used. Cheeky.
Yeah.
So with the Storytime with David, look at me holding this like I'm posh. How can people watch?
So I have a YouTube account, which is Storytime with David, but actually, because it doesn't come straight up when you put it in. But if you put Storytime with David Train, my first video comes up, and then you can find it there on YouTube. I also have an Instagram account, which is obviously under Storytime with David. A Facebook page, which is of course Storytime with David, and I actually have a brand new logo because I did a competition. And,
1 minute, let me guess. Storytime with David.
What? Do you know? I actually did a competition, and I would like to get people to. I was like, oh, I'm not really the most techie person. I was like, I need a logo. I need something better than just Storytime with David with a couple of books next to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I need a bit more push out. And so I put out there, and I was like, oh, children, come and design me a logo. And I was expecting to get, 1 or 2. I had about 22 or something like that. And I was like, I had to pick one, and I picked the logo I got, and it was brilliant. She did a wonderful logo, and that's the logo at the moment. It had everything I had on it, and she did a picture of me waving because at the start of everything, I'm like, hey, hello everyone, me again. So my mate messaged me the other day, and he said I had a few beers the other night, and literally the first thing I scrolled onto was you going, hello, and he was like, oh, bloody hell.
I could imagine that you could have a quite good audience with like the stoner community.
Imagine it's like an audiobooks.
Shrek.
That could be a nice little thing. But yeah, I was just thinking, you're essentially running a sweatshop. You just got loads of children working for you. I don't need to pay a graphic design. I'll just get 20 kids and I'll pick the best one.
He sent me
That's amazing.
Child slavery.
It was brilliant. It was good to see them all. Like, obviously, you had to pick one. That was difficult because obviously they'll put their work in, and then you're like, oh, I'm not exactly the most.
Master, is this one good enough? No, it's not good enough.
No, Elliot, it's not.
It's not Elliot.
So, Dave, you mentioned you started a podcast before, and then you restarted it, right?
Yes. So I wanted to get in presenting for a while and I always remember going back to to when I went to drama school. I had this teacher who I was really close to called Richard, and he said to me in second year, he was like, you know Richard, don't you, Dan? And,
yeah, I know Richard well.
and he said to me, he was like, you, Mr. Summerfield, you ain't a performer, you're a personality. That's where you're going to get in the career. At the time, I was like, no, I want to be musical theatre. Don't be silly. I paid $9,000 a year to sing and dance. I'm not going to go and be a personality. Who do you think I am? And then I get...
Who do you think I am, you slag?
Who do you think I am?
I want to be a robot. No.
And,
no, you've got heart.
Heart, do it. And I was like, oh God, here we go. So I was like, oh, yeah, whatever. And then I get to the end of third year, and I was like, actually, I don't really, not that I don't like musical theatre, but I'm like, yeah, it's not really my calling, if I'm being honest. Like, you find things that you're better at, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And
you say like, that, but didn't you just before lockdown? Didn't you get like a job for like Disneyland Paris to be like a prince or something?
I was about to go on a cruise ship. Actually, it's funny you said that. I was about to go on a cruise ship before lockdown. I was literally 2 weeks off getting on the ship before COVID happened, and so yeah, I suppose not that I don't want to do it anymore. It's just I feel like when you find things that you feel that you're better at, you're like, I could go into a really big pond and be one of the low ones down there, or go into something that I could be one of the top choices in. It's just finding a niche, isn't it? I suppose. And as I said, so I started it after I came back from Panto. I did Panto over the last Christmas. It was an idea I had over Panto. I was like, oh, I could do a podcast channel and get people on, you know. And like my motto on it is, you don't have to be famous to tell your story. You know what I mean? You, as I said at the start, everyone is about the famous people and now they've made it and what they're doing. You ever hear about people's journeys, what they're doing at this moment in time, their little projects that they just need, you know, need more than just, you know, a share on a page. They need people to see who they are, what they are, and everything. I was like, oh, I could think about doing that, and so I started doing it. And obviously COVID happened, so I didn't get as many done. And only recently I was like, do you know what? This is the perfect time to do it at the moment and get a few people on, because, you know, the country's still half locked down. People have got a bit more free time. When we go back to normal, everyone's going to be down the pub, down the cinema, or working. Do
you wish you started it a little bit before, maybe mid-lockdown? Because I know that I wish that me and Max started it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, God, it's one of those things, like YouTube in general. I wish I started when I was like in high school. And it's always been one of those things that I really wanted to do, but you just feel like you're being judged, or it wasn't cool, but now it's so fucking cool.
Literally,
and it's like,
that's it. I know for a fact in high school, if I were obviously in year 10 and started doing YouTube, like obviously all you like MrBeast and stuff do, and do what they did, I'd got the shite kicked out of me. But I was very egocentric in high school. Obviously, like used to hang with like the popular kids and stuff. So I wouldn't have allowed myself to become that niche because I was too concerned about what people thought. But now I wish that I just didn't give a shit, because I'd have like millions of pounds like these idiot, like MrBeast. He got famous by counting to like 100,000.
Yeah, literally.
He made like crazy, just a little idea like that, and now look at him. Absolutely giving like 10 grand away like it's now.
I think as well, yeah, I do agree. I wish I had started it sooner, you know, in mid-lockdown, because it's the perfect time, because literally the whole country was doing absolutely nothing. But I think as well, and I know it's going to sound really bad, I don't know about you boys, I was kind of enjoying, you know, just doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? It was just nice, you know, binging Netflix, you know, just doing whatever you wanted, you know, just you had free time, and I kind of enjoyed, you know, having a bit of me time. You know, you had your one Boris Walker day. You know, that was always a high point of life.
Do you think it were a bit of give and take though? Of obviously not doing stuff and doing stuff, because I know I feel like this, and I think Mac does as well. He's happy like doing shat all, but there comes a point when you're like, something. I just want to see my bro. I just want to like
Oh my
see
God.
someone and do something.
Literally. Oh, literally. I think everyone for the first 2 weeks, if everyone's being honest, it was a terrible situation. Don't get me wrong, but I think everyone kind of not enjoyed, but kind of enjoyed like having free time. Do you know what I mean? Like we just got told to go home and do nothing, watch TV.
Go.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, no one expected us to be sitting here, a year later. No.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're a different circumstance for me because I lost my job because of COVID originally, and
really?
I got deported. Well, I was I was working.
Matt got deported.
Yeah, no. So I was working in Italy, and then they closed the theaters and things. So then they sent the whole cast home and things like that.
Wasn't Italy at the point when you were there like the worst in the world?
Dude, yeah, no, it was bad, and now it's bad again. They're one of the worst countries again.
Yeah, they're in a lockdown.
They just don't care.
Weren't you literally next to the worst village in the country or something?
Yeah, we were scheduled to go into that town like the week it all kicked off. So then we were just sat in a hotel, like we're just waiting to find out. And then we stay in this hotel, and then 2 days later they just went, go home.
I remember because me and Mac like messaging each other. And I'm like, yo, what's kicking off over there? Like, honestly, I don't know. And like, obviously, I was seeing all this stuff on news about people like dropping like flies. And I'm like, yo, my best friend's about to die. What can I do to help him? And I'm messaging him like, yo, what's going on?
it was weird because everywhere we were visiting, like a day later or 2 days later, there'd be news stories about that location saying there's 100 cases here, 1,000 cases there. And we were just like dodging it.
Really, you were like patient Zed and like just passed it to everyone. Mark was just sleeping with all like bitches around that village, passing it on.
Just on stage, just coughing on everyone.
Oh God,
mad. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a shit. Yeah, I don't know if you boys feel the same as well. Like, even though we know it's happened, it still doesn't feel real what we went through. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we've coming out the other side of it now. I'm thinking about.
Do you feel like it's gone really, really quick?
It has. It's flown.
A year's just disappeared. It's crazy.
It's good. Like I can't even remember the time that we weren't even allowed to see anyone. Like now we can go out and meet a mate for a walk. We literally at that time we weren't allowed to see anyone. You were forbidden, not allowed to see anyone. I was like, how the hell did we actually do it? How the hell have we got through this bloody year? Do you know what I mean?
I remember I didn't see anybody other than Steph and my friend Aidan for a solid 6 months. Nobody else wasn't allowed to leave my flat. Like, didn't see my mum, anyone for like 6 months, and it was the worst, but also the best time because I just didn't have to work. But I remember when everything like going on lockdown and that, me and my friend Aidan who worked together, we were like looking at each other and we're praying that we got shut down. We're like, we want this furlough to get paid to do nothing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. At the time, gyms were like, there were so many question marks about why gyms are staying open.
Yeah. And obviously at the time, I was working in a children's gym. So there were that kind of like, can you classify it as a school, an early learning centre? And we passed off for, I think it was 2 weeks until the manager were like, actually, no, I'm breaking like every rule in the country. I need to close down. We had like police coming round and stuff, like telling us like lock down. Yeah, it was mad. But yeah. Oh, anyway, your DS podcast, like, we've kind of went way off topic. Like, what do you focus on? Like, on the podcast?
It's the main thing I set DS podcast up for was to give people a voice, a platform, because you see people who share, you always see people sharing things on Instagram, Facebook, and sometimes people just, well, you know what people like on Facebook, you're just scrolling. And post doesn't sometimes quite do it. And I was like, if I could set something up where people could come on and, talk about it, show their passion, so they can actually like people can see who the person is that's promoting, maybe a theatre group or a fitness page or anything like that, or has been through an experience. Like I had a guy on last week who came on and he talked about his mental health campaign. And
is that geezer who didn't show his face?
Yeah, and it was that's the reason I wanted to do it, was to give people a voice.
Oh, yeah. So, what kind of stuff do you focus on your podcast, Dave?
It's like people coming on and talking about their life experiences, campaigns they're running, about their careers so far, what have they done in their careers, where they want to go, and I feel like the more stories I get on of people's lives, and more people's projects that come on, the more that they can promote what they're trying to promote more, because people are seeing the person for who they are. Like if they're running a theatre company, they want people to come and see what they're doing. It's more enticing to come along and watch if they see the person who's in it, not just a page of going, oh, come and see this show or something like that. And for example, like when people are coming and talking about their life experiences, it's nice people who may be going through similar things that can watch people and see what they've done and what their journey's been, and almost feel like, oh yeah, it's not just me. I'm not the only one that's feeling like this. Like for example, mental health. Like someone comes on and talks about mental health, someone who might be watching might be like, I feel like that as well. And it's just to help people and just promote what people to be doing. And I love just hearing about people's stories. Like, me, I'm a big chatterbox when it comes to talking to people. Like, I like helping people, if I'm being honest.
You were on about, obviously, you didn't really know about all these different like platforms and stuff that you can record on. But like, what platforms are you using to promote your different podcasts? Like, where do you have visuals? Is it audio only? What's the crack? Because I've only seen an audio one.
Yeah. So on YouTube, it's depending on like what people like. Some people like coming on and doing a face-to-face one. Some people like just an audio. I think sometimes it's easy to have an audio one. Sometimes if it's on Spotify, because people can just listen to it when they're running or in the car or whatever. So I have a YouTube account, and on there I also have Facebook and Instagram for all of my platforms that I'm on, which is Storytime with David, DS Podcast, 442 Meters Apart. They're all on all three of those platforms, and Spotify for the 442 Meters Apart. So it's just trying to get myself out everywhere, because sometimes when it's on on Instagram, that's the best way to do it, because people can just literally click on it and you're there. You don't even have to click into something and go, I have to do 300 million things before I can actually watch the video. I could just it's just there. That's the
we were chatting about this actually. It's so much easier to get a following on the social medias, such as your Facebooks, your Instagrams, like your general social medias. But like YouTube, Mac, how hard have we found it to get to that YouTube subscriber? Not the views, the subscribers.
Yeah, I don't know why. Because we got loads of people who click on their link and they'll watch the video, but like they don't have accounts, they won't subscribe.
Yeah, that's
don't know
it.
Why?
That's the problem I've had. That's the problem I've had, because people are like, I've like been saying to people, I'm like, oh, literally, all you got to do is go and subscribe, and they're like, oh, I don't have a YouTube. I don't think many. It sounds silly. Not many people have YouTube accounts, and it's so annoying. Yeah. You're like, get subscribers. Well, I can't.
It's so bizarre.
Like now, because obviously social media is like the biggest like platform for like connection and stuff. Everybody's got a social media account. Like this is what we were saying. Everyone's got a Facebook. Everyone's got an Instagram, because they're so easy to make. They're so easy to access, and you can do a lot more on those than you can really YouTube. With YouTube, it's just watching stuff on them. It's more interaction, isn't it? Really, it's more connectivity.
Instagram's a great one as well. Instagram's a great one, because with Facebook, sometimes when Instagram you're scrolling and it's just a double tap and you like something. Facebook, you have to literally move your mouse or move. It's more easier to like things on Instagram than it is on Facebook. And as you said, literally you're just scrolling through Instagram. you see a video, like for example, what you guys put on, you literally just click it on and it's there, and that engages the people to see a little clip of what you do, and people then will click on further to go and watch the big showpiece, isn't it? So
I know Mark's going to have a little piece to say about this. I'm going to absolutely give you a plug here. Instagram, TikTok, you can scroll. YouTube, you can't just scroll through stuff. I know you've got something to say on this, Mark.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's a fair point. But I was going to say, it seems like there's been, in the past 5 or so years, a transition from businesses on Facebook to being Instagram. And like, that seems like it's the platform, like the base platform for a business now. Because you can
100%.
advertise videos now, obviously pictures, sounds, everything. And it is hard that they're limiting a growth of a channel as well.
Yeah, because you're starting out, you're all new, aren't you, to this thing? You know, you're going to need, you need to give it a bit more help, don't you?
Yeah, to be fair, we ain't done bad. Like, how long we've been going now, Mark? Would you say about a month and a half, 6 weeks?
Yeah, probably longer
About
than we
6
think.
weeks.
But I guess they're also trying to plug their own advertisements, because obviously on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you can pay for advertisements on their platforms, and they share their things out there. So I guess that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
What you guys are doing is fantastic. I think what you guys are doing is fantastic. I think you've got a really good thing going on here.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully,
Yeah,
hopefully more people think with the same idea as you. Because end of the day, me and Mark are entertainers. We want to entertain people and just make people laugh. That's it, really, innit? What more is there to do? And talk to people and just talk shit and have a drink and that.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to entertain them. I'm just trying to have a chat with my mate, you know?
Yeah, that's it. Like, that's literally the philosophy.
If you lot enjoy it, then that's on you.
That's a bonus, isn't it? That's your issue. Sounds like a you problem.
You've hit the nail on the head there, Matt. You've hit the nail on the head there, Matt. Because if you try to entertain, you're not entertaining. When you're just on there and you're like, I'm just going to be me, I'm going to have a laugh, or I'm just going to have like when I'm doing an interview with someone, I have my standard questions, but I don't actually write down my questions when I'm doing my podcast. I just go, this is what I'm going to be talking to him about, and then the questions just come into your head because you're just having a chat. You know, it's kind of the chats that sometimes we need as mates, like to talk about how you've been doing. You know, how did you get
exactly what we do. Like, we literally say, all right, this is the general thesis of what the whole episode is going to be about, but just let it flow naturally. If you force stuff, it looks cringy. It looks a bit ugh. It's the only word I can describe it as.
Literally.
Ugh.
Yeah, ugh. Anyway, Dave, do you want to shamelessly plug your podcast on our podcast?
Yes, so please. Yeah. So DS Podcast, it's on, again, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Head over, put in DS Podcast and we come straight up as well. It's a blue circle with dots around it with DS Podcast in the middle. You won't miss it. Please check out and subscribe. And if people want to come on and be a guest, feel free. You know, get in touch. I want everyone on. If you think and go, oh, that's not a good enough thing to go on a podcast and talk about. No, that's not true. If you want to come on and talk about anything, we'll get you on. It's all about giving people a platform. So yeah, please check me out.
That's the end of the episode. Thank you all for listening. You can find all the links to Davy's channels and socials in the description down below.
I think you've got something really good going on here, lads. And thanks very much for having me on. It's a pleasure. Cheers, man. Cheers, boys.
It's been a great laugh, Dave. Lovely stuff.
Remember to like, subscribe, follow on all our socials. We'll see you in the next one.
See you later, guys.
Yeah.
You laid there and went, I need to speak to Mac. And I went, why? Can't do this anymore.